So, you want me to check into hell, cozy up to a demon, and ask him all casual, hey, so where'd you bury 13 bodies? Is that right? Not for all the money in the world.
A new show that I'm watching is BlackBird on Apple TV. I am all in on this show. I started a little bit late. I won't even hold you guys. But when I saw that it stars Taron Egerton, Walter Hauser, and Greg Kinnear, I was all in. I absolutely admit. And within 5 minutes of the show, you see this big lifestyle from Taron. Taron plays Jimmy. He is a baller. His boys are in his mansion. He meets a girl, bangs her out immediately. He is that guy. But he's also running drugs. And we see him on a drug deal, and it goes wrong. He's dealing with this old Southern guy who takes no shorts. His childhood friend actually steals from them, and he's like, yo, this guy's life is not worth 3 keys. But he gets them out of this drug deal. He's a smooth talker. I thought this was the perfect way to open a show because after this first 10 minutes, I know who the character is. I'm all in on it. And I really, really enjoy the open. I love a gangster flick. And this actually gives me those vibes. We also see Jimmy get the bag of Shorty. He bangs her out almost immediately, doesn't know her last name. And this is when we get introduced to the next key player in this series, which is played by Sepideh Mophie. She plays Lauren McCauley, who's a FBI agent who actually locks Jimmy up. Because, of course, Jimmy cannot be a baller for long. He actually goes into jail. And this actually sets up the premise of the entire series. Jimmy's caught red-handed, and once he's in jail, he's forced to take a deal. But they pull a switcheroo on him. So he thinks he's getting 5 years. He actually gets 10. But then they offer him up a way to get out. He has to get this killer to tell them where the bodies are inside one of the toughest prisons in the world. And this is our entry into the world. This is the gist of that first episode. It basically sets the foundation up. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the foundation of setup because I assumed you guys watched it. And nothing really happens in the first episode other than them setting up. We also get to meet in the first episode Larry Hall, played by Walter Hauser. He is the king of playing a creepy character. All of his roles are creepy, weirdo characters. I like that he does it, and he does it to perfection. And they perfectly tapped him for this role of Larry Hall, who is touted as a serial confessor. And that's where we leave things off and go into episode 2.
We suspect that the man that you'll read about in that file has killed 14 women, maybe more, but we only tied him to 2. And we only have 1 of the bodies.
We'd like to find the other one. And maybe 12 more.
Yo, the chemistry between Jimmy and Lauren is it's A1 exceptional. There's so much tension between those two, and I really hope that they help carry this show for the rest of the season. Also in episode 2, Walter Hauser absolutely shines. One of the things I did notice that when they're in the interrogation room with Larry, the cops seem to be protecting him. Like, why are they protecting this guy? What do they know that we don't know? And I think that right there is something that I noticed in episode 2. Is like, why are the cops protecting Larry Hall this way? And that's going to raise a red flag. I don't know if we're going to get this answered coming up, but hopefully we do. Another one of the things that caught my eye is in the sort of the beginning part of episode 2, when Jimmy and Lauren are actually talking in the dentist's office. It's very light and innocent. And I think the lighting techniques, it really gave me like, oh, these two like each other. And I'm wondering if he's going to get out of jail and actually bag the cop. Like, that would be cool, right? That's sort of cliche, but I think it's one of the things that I genuinely expect from TV shows. Is like they're going to get together, right? And we don't know if this is going to happen, but this is the vibe that this scene is actually giving me. Also in the scene in the dentist's office, you really get a great grasp of good cop, bad cop. And she's doing it all by herself. And when she's this good and she's trying to like get him this deal, like take the deal. Like you have to take this deal. Like this is the best thing for you. And they're flirting with each other. They're going back and forth. But she also never relents control. And when she is more dominant and actually aggressive and confrontational towards Jimmy, you see the scene get a lot darker, and they do a very, very great job of bouncing from light to dark. I thought that was great when it comes to the cinematography and the directing of episode 2. So kudos to that. And I'm really hoping that we get to see Taron sort of change his character as Jimmy, because right now Jimmy's this playboy. He's this big drug dealer persona, right? Very charismatic. He's selling nudie magazines out of his jail cell in this low security prison. But as he's talking, she's really pushing him to put on a different skin, to go back to his days of his childhood that he didn't like. And he's like, I like the skin I'm in. But he also, Larry doesn't like that skin either. And they sort of find some common denominator there. So at this point, I'm really looking forward to see how Taron is going to change his character. Because look, any good television show, right? The character starts here and he ends up there, right? So you want to see this journey, and I'm expecting to see that as we go along. I think these first 2 episodes did a really, really good job of laying the foundation for who these characters are going to be and how they're going to come out in the other end. Back in the interrogation room with Larry, we sort of see him playing a very, very interesting game with the detectives and the cops who are trying to get him. This is set back in 1993 before his appeal, because they put him on for this murder. And so the time jumps are really, really crazy and really, really interesting. It's a bit confusing. If you walk out the room, you won't realize there's a time jump, but there is a time jump. And we go back in time. We see Larry. At this point, they're trying to get him to do a confession. He confesses. He opens up about how he killed these women in his dream. And you start to be like, oh, wow, he actually did it. And he opened up and they got a confession from him. But we also do know that he's a serial confessor. But where he slips is he gives them some information that they don't know, that they fold the clothes. And that wasn't in the original file. So they have him and they make him sign a confession. They write out what he did. He goes, I didn't do this. Did I do this? Well, maybe that's why I can't sleep at night. And he signs the paper. But what I noticed is that he didn't sign the paper in cursive. Why? Why didn't he sign the paper in cursive? I really want to know if we're going to find out about that. I have that in my notes. I was like, in my notes it goes, he doesn't sign waiver in cursive. He prints name. Says he won't pass a lie detector test. So that's really interesting. Those are things that really sparked my attention. So just gonna be on the lookout for that, because those are the type of things that they bring back around later on in the series, and I expect to see that coming up in another episode. And during this confession, he really, really gives some very details about how he buries his victim. He breaks the zippers and folds the clothes, because he kind of feel bad after he kills someone, so he puts their clothes in a nice pile. I really want to know if that was in the script, because that is so gruesome and creepy. If that's something he brought to the role, then whoo, what would it be locked in a room with Walter Hauser? That's crazy. After he signs his confession, the cops from his hometown, they have another weird interaction. Again, like, what's their relationship? I really want to know more, like, why they're acting like that, because why don't you think this guy is capable of doing it? Yeah, you know him, but why? Also in episode 2, you really get to see Ray Liotta's acting chops. Every time he's on camera so far has been really, really good, and I want you guys to pay attention to when you see him on camera. There's a bunch of other things that happened in episode 2, but I thought overall it did a really, really good job of introducing you to the story. This is a mini-series, so there's only 6 episodes. So it's going to be a whirlwind, but they're telling a complete story so far. We know why he's in jail. We know who he was before he went to jail. We know why he's in jail. We know what he has to do when he's in jail. And so we have this foundation. We also don't know stuff that we need to find out about Larry Hall. We kind of think he's the killer, maybe. We don't know where the bodies are. He could also be wrongfully accused. So we have these 2 trains of thought sort of colliding, and it'll be really interesting to see where they take this in future episodes. But overall, BlackBird is highly entertaining. It's grade A acting. There's not a bad actor on the cast. Really looking forward to see where they take these characters. Overall, very, very entertaining. I am engaged. I am enthralled. It's sort of easy to watch too, which is something good with a miniseries. While there is some bouncing back and forth, and if you miss a portion of it, you could get lost, it is still an easy watch because it's very entertaining and it does a great job of keeping your attention, at least for me. I don't think Apple TV Plus has had a bad show yet. I highly suggest you guys watch this. I'm going to get episode 3 watched and do a review for you on episode 3, 4, 5, and 6. So stay tuned. This was my review of episode 1 of 2 of BlackBird, and I think you guys should watch it. I think it's a great series with very, very good potential. And I wish it was longer, but it's only a mini series, and you can't go wrong with a mini series. So there you have it. Watch BlackBird on Apple TV.